Yo, what is going on, guys? Jaquan here, and today we got ourselves a mirror match. Emerald Amethyst versus Emerald Amethyst Discard Diablo Evasives. Let the Diablo Wars begin. So, I'm currently playing on the left, Emerald Amethyst, versus our opponent, who's also playing Emerald Amethyst. So in this particular matchup, this is the first time we're actually having a mirror match on the channel at our locals game. And I will be, I believe, going second. So our opponent will be going first. That means I'll be going first on the next game. So generally in this case here, we do want to find our Diablos. And we do want to find as much evasives as possible, because we're going to have a whole ton of Diablos on the board. We're going to have a whole ton of evasives on the board. So we just want to be able to essentially have an attrition match, right? To really use up our resources, discard the other opponent, and then keep drawing with our Diablos as well. So he starts it off with Diablo 1-drop, and he takes a look at my hand. Looks like we got our Diablo Shift, Ursula, Diablo 1-drop, Hypnotize, Bruno, another Diablo 1-drop, and I believe it was Ursula Shift. So we got a whole ton of good starters in our hand. And I believe, yeah, so we're going to ink the Bruno. The reason for this is because, again, he could potentially have Ursula Deceiver, which would then just knock out that Bruno out of her hand. So we are going to take a look at his hand with our own Diablo. Looks like he does also have the Sudden Chill, the Bruno, and a 1-drop Amethyst Diablo. Can't really see what the rest of the cards are in his hand, but we'll probably find out shortly here. Alright, so I choose to shift into the Diablo. And okay, so the reason why I choose to do this is because even if, let's just say, he doesn't have Ursula Deceiver in his hand, I am worried that he could very well top deck an Ursula Deceiver, just discarding that Bruno out of our hand, not allowing us to actually shift onto Diablo next turn. So that's why doing it a turn early isn't the worst, because we know that, you know, our Diablo shift is going to stick around unless he runs cards like Mother Knows Best, where he can just bounce it back. But even then, that's not always the worst either, just because we can reuse our Diablo 1-drop as ink. So he does choose to play the 2-drop Diablo and then shift into another Diablo and then sing Sudden Chill, ripping a card out of our hand. So these two games, we're just going to see a bunch of Diablos duking it out each other. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Yeah, again, like this week of locals, there's just so many Amethyst players now. With Ruby Amethyst evasives, you got Amethyst Emerald evasives, and then you still have Emerald Steel that we have to look out for as well. I believe the Ruby Sapphire deck is still actually on top post-ban, but of course now it does give a more diverse room for other decks to come back into the format, right? So now we're seeing Steel Songs coming back. Ruby Amethyst is one of them that comes back as well. And Ruby Amethyst is doing pretty well just because they have so many different types of evasives that they can also play. And they're also playing the Peter Pan Shadowfinder, which is a really, really solid out to any of the Diablos running around in this format now. Okay, so I do choose to trade into his Diablo shift with my Diablo shift. And the reason for this is because, again, he has a Diablo 2-drop, which is evasive, and it does give a +2 strength when it does challenge. So either way, it's like when I think about it, okay, my Diablo is going to be gone anyways. There's really no point of trying to get that card with the Diablo, because it will deny his draw for Diablo as well if I were to just, you know, trade. So that's what I choose to do. Okay, so we're inking the Ursula Deceiver and we're playing the Hypnotize. So this is great because now we are simplifying the game state, right? As you can see, the opponent only has 1 card in hand, 2 cards now, and that's just due to the fact that he used so many resources to shift into that Diablo. So that's what I've been saying as well, right, guys? Like, Diablo Shift is super broken in different situations, but it takes a lot of resources to set up. You not only need to have that combo in your opening hand, but again, once you have that combo, you're discarding a card and you're really needing that Diablo to stick around for at least 2 turns to really get back that advantage before you can start plussing. So it looks like I played the Genie. He's going to drop the Elsa, exerting my own Genie, and then challenging both with the Elsa in his Diablo into my Genie, taking it out. And that Diablo 2 drop is just so versatile. So, okay, so we're hard casting friends on the other side. I don't feel too bad right now just because, again, the opponent is in top deck mode. And we do have quite a bit of cards in our hand, and we just want to keep that momentum up as well. Because again, we're not really too scared of that Elsa. Because that thing's only 2/5 and only quests for 1. So it's not, you know, questing for 2 like a Genie. And we are on curve to play our own 2-drop Diablo as well. Okay, so the opponent plays the Queen. So what that does is that you can exert her to shuffle 2 cards or put 3 cards back into the discard from the bottom of the deck, of your opponent's deck. And if any one of these is a princess, then he gains 4 lore. If not, then he gains 3 lore. So really cool card, especially because, again, like Amber Steel is running around and they have a bunch of princesses to really, you know, get full advantage and utilize that queen effect there. So we did have our own Elsa exerting his queen and then trading that queen with our own Diablo 2 drop. So as you can see, like it's just a mirror match, right? So it's just the same cards playing back and forth, back and forth. It's almost like chess in a way, because you know our decks are pretty similar. Personally, in my variation, I don't actually run the queen. I have considered it, but I did find that it is a little bit on the slower side right now. So I am testing other cards. Okay, so perfect. We do have the ability to set up now the discard combo of having the Prince John there. It can't be touched with absolutely anything in the Amethyst Emerald colors, just because there's nothing to actually take it out if it doesn't get exerted. Because again, Prince John does have Ward, so now we can just start slapping down Sudden Chills, Hypnotize, and Brunos, and start plussing off of that turn after turn. And I did drop a library here too, which is pretty good in this situation, right? Because like, even if he does have a Fox, he's not going to be able to do too much damage onto that library. That library is going to stick around for at least 1 turn. And that Diablo, you know, that he has on his board only has 0 strength, so it's not going to do anything at all. Unless he has maybe crap. Now we're playing another library. So 2 libraries on the field now. Putting both Prince John and Elsa into the library on the right, just because that one has not taken damage yet, whereas the library to the left does have 2 damage on it. Okay, so he plays the Diablo, and it's revealed in my hand to have Iago, 4-drop, evasive, and an illusion. But the stats are crazy on that thing. It's 4/6, and especially when you're playing against another evasive deck, Iago is going to be able to trade with at least 2 things. Okay, so those libraries are going to get me 2 lore turn after turn, the longer that they stick around. So it is a priority right now to take out those libraries on his side. But again, now because we do have the Iago on board, again, Iago's 4/6, right? And he's evasive. So even if he tries to challenge into these libraries, Iago's going to clean up anything that is exerted on his side of the board. Okay, so we're inking a Diablo 1-drop, playing an Ursula. Doesn't have any cards in his hands, so Ursula doesn't get his effect. Putting the Iago into the library. So when it comes to Iago, a lot of players, they can have actions that can target the opponent or themselves, right? So in this case here, let's just say if you have like a Mother Knows Best, you can target the Iago. Iago will automatically get banished instead of going to the hand. just because it is an illusion. So it does have that downside of when it gets targeted by an action, it just gets banished. All right, so I top decked a Diablo, which is not the best in this situation, just because again, like we want to have more higher power cards like Prince John or Diablo Shift for our top decks. So I noticed that because you're top decking Diablo 1 drops all the time, and again like Ursula 2 drops, I think I might switch things around where I take out the Emerald 1 drop Diablos and maybe put like Turnabogs or a Magic Broom instead, or even Merfolk, just because I just feel like having that Diablo 1 drop for Emerald late in the game is not the most ideal, especially if you're top decking and let's just say you're you're mirror matching and the opponent's discarding you and you just don't have anything in the hand. It's like the same concept of the reason why a lot of steel decks cut the Robin Hood package, because drawing the 1-drop Robin Hood late in the game, just again, it's the same feeling, right? It's just such a bad feeling. And then like turn after turn, you're just not going to be able to do anything. So looks like our opponent does scoop it up. So that was a very, very quick game, just because again, the pivotal moment in this game is when I crashed into his Diablo, right? Because he needed that Diablo as draw power. Because I denied him that, I was able to gain more resources like that from that friend zone on the other side. But not to mention, it's very important to note that because I went second, I did get that additional card, right? Just because when you go first, you don't actually draw on the first turn. So that did actually come in handy as well, right? Because I have an additional resource. Okay, so again, because he went first, I will be going first now, just because this is going to be best out of 2. All right, so again, we're mulliganing for, in this case here, when we go first, we just want to mulligan for the Diablo shift line. So that's why I'm sending back 6 cards here to draw, 6 cards on the top of my deck, hoping that maybe one of them is the other pieces to that Diablo combo. So again, if you have Diablo 1 drop, shift Diablo, save that one, and then mulligan the rest. And depending as well on the ratios for your actions, let's just say you open like one of the Diablos and then 2 or 3 actions, you may want to consider keeping one of those actions, because the chances that you draw an action as well will get slimmer the more actions you see in your opening hand, right? So just keep that in mind when you're thinking of mulliganing, if you're playing any sort of Diablo decks. All right, so we're inking the Ursula shift, and we're going to play the Diablo looking at the opponent's hand. Looks like he has a Diablo 2-drop, 1-drop, 2 Ursula Deceivers, a Queen, and an Elsa. So this is good for us because, for one, he doesn't have the Diablo shift. And let's just say even if he does top deck the Diablo shift, he's not going to have any action to shift it. And depending on how our hand looks, we could easily avoid those Ursula Deceivers by just inking all our songs away. So he will also play the Diablo 1-drop, looking at my hand. And I can't really see it because of the glare, but I don't think I have more than one action, so I think we're good. Yeah, so I inked the Sun and Chill, which is the last song in my hand, so that prevents his Ursula Deceiver from being able to get any discards off. And then I just drop 2 more Diablos. So I have 3 Diablos on the board. He has 1 Diablo on his board. It's just Diablo Mania. Diablo Wars has begun. So he inks his Diablo and he plays a Diablo. Now we have 5 Diablos on the board. My goodness. see if we can get a Diablo shift going. Okay, so we're inking Ursula shift. Again, in this case here, like, it doesn't really do too much early in the game, so unfortunately we had to ink them. And we're going to hard cast the Hypnotize. Yep, so we're going to try to do the same thing as last time and simplify the game state, right? Because the smaller his hand, the better. Because right now we do have the Diablo 1 drops for the Amethyst side. So that way we can recur back some card draw if they ever do get banished. Okay, so he inks a crab. And challenges into the 1-drop Emerald Diablo. Okay. And takes out one of my Diablos. I draw a card. Okay, he plays a fox, bouncing another Diablo back. Okay, so he just wiped out all 3 of my Diablos. Which, again, I'm okay with, just because those Diablo Amethyst 1-drops, they're going to be able to replace themselves with a card draw, right? So again, I have a fresh whole hand. I have 5 cards in my hand now. I have plenty of options. And I'm not too scared of Fox in the Diablo 2 drop, because again, we are in the lore lead, but also they're only going to quest for 1 lore as well. Okay, so we're dropping 2 Diablo 2 drops, which is great because we're going to have a standstill, right? If any one of his characters quest, one of our Diablos are going to go in there and challenge and do a 1-for-1 trade. Okay, so he plays a Genie. Genie's a little bit harder to get over, right? Just because of its stats being 2-4. Whereas the Diablo 2 drop, even having Challenger 2, is only going to get it to a 3 strength Challenger. But if I potentially have the Elsa 5 drop, I could exert the Genie, and then having the Diablo and Elsa trade with the Genie that way. Okay, so let's say we got 4 cards in our hand, so still a pretty healthy hand. And we have our 2 Diablos just chilling there, ready to stabilize the board. At this point, the only thing that could really break my board is if he has his own Elsa 5-drop, and then he can just start exerting my stuff. Okay, so we play our own Genie. We ink a Bruno, and we play a 1-drop Diablo. Okay, so this is good. So now we automatically establish a stronger board, right? We have a wider board. Both of our Diablos are going to be able to challenge any of his characters. We have a Genie now, so we're feeling pretty good again. But again, this is also just due to the fact of the lack of Prince John's or the Diablo shift that we're seeing on the opponent's side, unfortunately. But even if, let's just say he does have the Diablo shift, again, like, we have so many evasive characters on board, it doesn't even matter. Sure, he might get one card out of that Diablo, if anything, but that Diablo is going to be gone. So usually in this case here, what I like to do is just hold my Diablo shifts until I can, start simplifying the game state, challenging a lot of his characters, and then dropping the Diablo once he doesn't have any more evasive characters. And once I know that he, again, like, drops his Elsas, then we can slowly start to gauge the game state of, like, how many copies of Elsas he's used up, how many copies of Genies that he's used up. And that way we can kind of speculate to see whether or not the Diablo shift is safer to actually play, right? So again, just because you have a really good card in your hand doesn't necessarily mean you have to play it, right? You can always hold it for a better time. Like, at the end of the day, this, like, right now in game 2, I'm at 4, he's at 3. Both of our boards are pretty equal right now. So again, like, we have that option to just chill. Right? We have that option to just save our best cards until we really need to use them. Okay, so it looks like he has a Creaky and a 1-drop Amethyst Diablo. He has one other card I can't see. Okay, so I'm inking and Ursula and playing my Elsa, shifting his crab. Okay, this is great because now I can trade both of my Diablo 2 drops into his Fox and Elsa. Yeah, perfect. And then let's see if we take out the Fox. Yep, and we definitely do. Perfect. And then now when I challenge into his Genie is going to be able to get taken out by my Elsa next turn. So again, we're using, in this case here, we're using our evasives to control his side of the board, and then we're using our smaller Diablos to just quest, right? Because if he plays evasives and tries to challenge into my 1-drops, I'm going to have evasives to challenge him back. So again, it's just an evasive war. We need big stats like Iago. Creaky's really good in this situation too, right? Because if we're facing down a bunch of his exerted evasives and we have evasives, Creaky's going to give every single character for 1 turn +3 strength, and that's going to be huge. Creaky is also really good too with the Diablo 1-drop Amethyst, because it acts like a crab, right? So you can just trade and draw a card from that. So we are able to play the Prince John, so now we're setting up for the discard stuff again. Luckily for us, we did see that Friends on the other side, so it did give us 2 additional cards. Okay, so he plays the 1-drop Diablo and a Queen. Queen's a little bit scary here just because we don't have too much stats on the board right now that could take out Creaky or the Queen. And the Creaky does quest for 3, so it is a huge quester in this situation. Okay, so he takes out my Diablo. And this is probably the most I've ever said Diablo in one in one video. It can be a little bit confusing, but that's why I'm saying like the ink colors and the ink cost as well. All right, cool. So we're playing the Merlin Crab onto the Diablo 1-drop and doing a clean trade right there. Questing for 2 with Prince John, most likely because we don't have any discard. Oh, actually no, it's because we have the Fox to bounce it back. So we see this type of strategy in Hyper Aggro, right? If they have like a 2-quester, they usually quest with it, bounce it back to their hand, and replay it. So in this case here, that's what I'm using Prince John to do. Is just using his high questing power to quest, gain 2 lore, and then bounce it back. And then I can always save Prince John for later in the future, right? Because right now we have a huge lore advantage. But it could very well turn at any point because, again, this Queen is going to allow him to get 3 additional lore by putting back 3 cards from my discard to the bottom of my deck. I do apologize about the shaky table, guys. Just this table that I set up for the week, unfortunately, it was a little bit wobbly there, so I do apologize on that for those who get motion sickness. Yeah, so he uses the Queen, takes a look at my discard, and it's like, none of them really matter. Because again, they're going to the bottom of my deck. I don't really have a way to shuffle my deck anyways, so yeah, he's just like, just pick whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'll just shuffle and pick 3 random ones to go to the bottom. Okay, so we're looking at 10-6 right now. Inks a sudden chill and plays a sudden chill. And I'm discarding the Prince John. Now, I don't know if this is a mistake, just because as you can see here, the card that I do play is a Hypnotize, and that was a top deck as well. So if I discarded the other card, which was the Iago, I would be able to get an additional card draw from Prince John, but I don't know if that would have been maybe too greedy, just because in this case here, Iago again has 4/6. So it can survive the Queen, it can also take out Genie. So in this case here, I think maybe discarding the Prince John was probably the best play. Sometimes it's good not to be like too greedy, right? Like I know that you want as much card draw as possible, as much resources as possible, but don't let that give you binocular vision, right? So yeah, I'm inking the Fox, playing the Iago. In this case here, he has nothing to contest the Iago. And that's why you see a lot of cards or a lot of decks play cards like Improvise. Improvise is a one drop, gives any character one strength, and you draw a card. So people are playing Improvise to actually take out Iagos, because you can target Iago, take it out for one cost, and then also draw a card. So it's a really interesting action that you can put into your deck for Emerald. Okay, so we're both on top decking mode. Playing the Ursula for nothing, because he has no hand. Quest, so again, he's back up 10-10. So he did catch up in lore. Replays the Diablo, because he bounced it from the Fox, and then questing again, giving him the lore lead of 12 to my 10. And right now he's just thinking if he wants to challenge my Fox with his Fox. Because again, that does simplify the game state. Yeah, I'm going to need to take out that Genie as quick as possible, because that could very well run away with the game. If that Genie stays on the board for 2 turns, 3 turns, it's going to be over. So I'm thinking long and hard. I wonder what card it was. Can't remember. Obviously, I'm debating if I wanted to save that card or just use it. Okay, so I'm playing Creaky. So that was the card I was thinking about. Creaky has 3 lore. So the reason why I was thinking about maybe saving it is because I wanted him to exert his stuff, and then Creaky can give all my stuff plus 3 strength, right? So it'll give me a little bit more favorable trade. But it wasn't an out to Genie, so I just decided to slap down the Creaky anyways, because again, it is a 3-quester. Unfortunately, our opponent top decked a Sudden Chill with no cards in our hand, so he just decided to ink it. But again, in this situation here, it's pivotal not to keep top decking like your 1-drop Diablo Emerald and your 2-drop Ursula Deceiver, because again, it just feels really bad and doesn't help you progress the game any further. Especially in these colors, we don't have any sort of wide board removal. We only have single target removal in the form of Mother Knows Best, which some decks don't even play. Oh yeah, and then we don't talk about Bruno as well, is the other one. Okay, cool. So we do have both Diablos, the 3-drop Diablo and the 1-drop Diablo. Luckily for us, that's all because we had the 1-drop Amethyst Diablo, giving us that additional card, being able to find that Diablo shift to throw it down, because that's going to give us an additional card. And of course, in this case here, because we're both top decking, every single card matters. Okay, so it brings us up to 16. So we do have Letho on board right now, and he can only quest up to 17. Okay, so he hypnotizes. He doesn't have to discard a card for Hypnotize to allow you to draw a card. Plays with friends. And he's like, yeah, he scoops it up. Perfect. All right. Well, that was a really interesting match, guys. Mirror match, Amethyst Emerald versus Amethyst Emerald. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next video. Don't forget to also join our Discord community, and I'll also have the link to my deck in the bio below. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.